A man's loved one says he hadn't been dating a young woman very long before he decided he needed to break it off.
Well, Detroit police say that woman is responsible for using her car as a deadly weapon in his murder, and it was all caught on surveillance video.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig has been talking to the victim's family. And Kim, that surveillance video, kind of hard to look at. I checked it out this morning, but it seems to point to clear intent.
Absolutely, without a doubt, that this driver was gunning for Terrence Ricks Jr. You'll see him running down the sidewalk here as he's being chased by a car, and behind the wheel, a woman now charged with first-degree murder.
My son didn't deserve to die this way. If my son's supposed to be burying me, not me burying him.
What happened to 25-year-old Terrence Ricks Jr. is horrifying, and Detroit police say this woman, 20-year-old Danisha Mathis, is responsible for killing him. Her weapon, this car, as young Terrence ran for his life.
She couldn't take the breakup because prior to that day, I heard him on the phone telling someone, I don't know if it was her, don't call my phone no more and don't text me no more.
I know she's just been coming to the house. She will pull in the driveway and she'll say hi, but other than that, no.
Mr. and Mrs. Ricks say their son had only been dating Danisha for no more than a month, and it seemed he wanted to break up, but not Danisha, who came by the house last week Tuesday.
She was in front of my house arguing with my son. I came outside and told my son, I said, leave her alone. Come on in the house, man.
And about 15 minutes later, Mr. Ricks says his son left to go to the store to get some cigarettes, perhaps not realizing Danisha was still around.
She was still in the neighborhood stalking him, you know, and seeing him up there on 7 Mile.
It's unclear if the two started arguing again, but what is clear is the evil that is behind the wheel. As investigators say, Danisha Mathis drove her car down 7 Mile, looped around in the parking lot as Terrence desperately tried to get away, but there was nowhere for him to hide, and the father of 2 was hit and killed, perhaps because he was a man Danisha Mathis couldn't have.
I just want to know why. I want to know why.
And Terrence Ricks Jr. was killed over a week ago, but his family can still not plan his funeral just yet because they simply cannot afford it. If you'd like to help, we'll have a link on our website at wxyz.com. Reporting live on the city's west side, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News. Back to you two in the studio.
Boy, your hearts go out for those parents sitting right there. I mean, just vicious, Kim, I don't know.
It's very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I just wanted to also tell you that he leaves behind 2 children. Back to you.
It was a summer night in Detroit, June 13, the year 2017. The time was 9:13 p.m. It was a horrifying scene unfolding on the 21,000 block of West 7 Mile. The heinous crime was caught by surveillance camera, ensuring that the merciless perpetrator would be answerable to the law. A young man was running. He was running as fast as he could on the sidewalk. It looked like he was in terrible danger, and he was. 25-year-old Terrence Ricks was running on foot from his girlfriend, who was in a rage and had made him her target. Her name, Danisha Lashay Mathis, a 20-year-old woman that Terrence had only been dating for a month. Here was this woman who he had just accepted into his life, and she was trying to kill him, dangerously speeding towards him in her car in an attempt to run him over. Sadly, Terrence Ricks was unable to get away from the maniac chasing him down. Mathis drove onto the sidewalk and hit Terrence Ricks, which subsequently dragged his body under the vehicle. Ricks eventually became disentangled from the bottom of Mathis's car. Danisha Lashay Mathis then fled the scene of the crime, driving her vehicle at a high rate of speed down Trinity Street. EMTs arrived at the scene and took Terrence Ricks to a local hospital, where he was pronounced dead after succumbing to the wounds he suffered from his girlfriend's violent attack. The Detroit Police Department investigated the crime, and Mathis was arrested June 14, 2017, on charges of first-degree murder. In my opinion, the cold-hearted nature of the crime, combined with the violent way she murdered her victim as he was defenseless and running away, makes Danisha Lashay Mathis one of the most frightening and most dangerous criminals that we have discussed thus far in the America's Most Vicious Women of Violence docuseries. 20-year-old Danisha Lashay Mathis from Detroit was given a 20 to 40-year prison sentence for the fatal incident. She pleaded guilty after deemed mentally competent to stand trial. Surveillance footage captured the chilling moment at 9:15 p.m. when Mathis callously ran over Ricks with her 2008 Ford Fusion. Sadly, Ricks was unsuccessful at his attempt to dodge out of the way, in the end being completely ran over and physically stuck to the killer's vehicle. The authorities revealed that the two had engaged in an argument prior to the tragic event. Following the collision, Mathis fled the scene but was later apprehended at her Northwest Side residence. The Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office conducted an autopsy, attributing Rick's death to severe injuries. In a plea agreement reached on January 26, Mathis admitted guilt to second-degree murder, a charge that was initially filed as first-degree murder. During Monday's proceedings, Mathis expressed remorse to Rick's grieving family. The victim's father and one of his aunts addressed the court during the sentencing. Despite Mathis' attorney's claim during a preliminary examination in July that there wasn't enough evidence for a premeditated murder charge, the judge disagreed, suggesting that Mathis appeared to be intentionally driving the car in Rick's direction. Whatever it is that Terrence and Danisha were arguing about leading up to the event, and whatever happened between them in that argument, in no world is there any way that Danisha's actions are rational or acceptable. This is another horrific incident of domestic violence that cost the life of a young man who had his whole life ahead of him. My hope is that couples learn from true stories like this one as an example of what not to do in their relationships, so they can avoid tragedy possibly one day derailing their love, hopes, and dreams that they share with that special someone in their lives. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and like the video. Go to patreon.com, Popular Bosses to sign up and watch the uncensored version of this video. You can also watch other Popular Bosses uncensored videos, and lots of other unreleased videos that are currently only available on Patreon and not on any other online platforms.